The next non-constitutional body that we will learn about is the Central Bureau of Investigation, or CBI. I'm sure that all of you must have heard about CBI in news or in movies or TV shows. It is quite popular institution in India. So to know about the history of CBI, you'll have to go back to the Special Police Establishment Act of 1941. So back in the day, India was a British colony and the Second World War was happening. So huge amount was set aside for the activities connected with the war. And it was noted that certain officials and non-officials were appropriating money from this fund for their private use. So there was rampant corruption and bribery that was happening in the War and Supply Department. To curb this, the Special Police Establishment Act was enacted, and the Special Police Establishment had the power to investigate into allegations of corruption or bribery in the War and Supply Department. Later on, this power to investigate was extended to corruption cases in railways as well. In 1946, the Delhi Special Police Establishment Act was enacted, because even after the Second World War, the need for a centralized agency which will investigate into certain matters, including corruption cases, was felt. So this particular agency was now under the supervision of the Home Department. Earlier, the Special Police Establishment was under the supervision of the War and Supply Department. And now the jurisdiction was widened to all departments of the government. So after this, after independence, in 1963, through an executive resolution, the Central Bureau of Investigation was then set up, because a need was felt for a centralized agency that will conduct investigations on behalf of the central government into not just corruption cases, but into passport frauds, major frauds, crimes committed in high seas or in airlines was felt, and that's why CBI was set up. So please don't get confused. CBI is not a statutory body. It was set up through an executive resolution, but it derives its powers from the Delhi Special Police Establishment Act. So it's not a statutory body. However, it derives its powers from the statute, this particular statute. And also please note that states have something called as criminal investigation departments, which is their department to look into certain crimes. CBI is the investigation agency of the central government. So states have CID, or the criminal investigation departments, and the center has the Central Bureau of Investigation, or CBI. Currently, CBI has 7 divisions, including an anti-corruption division, economic offences division, and a division to look into special crimes. So CBI has the authority to investigate into central government areas and union territories. However, if CBI wants to investigate in a state, it will have to get the consent of the state. We will talk about the general consent and the special consent of states in one of the following slides, but for the time being, just keep this in mind. So it is the main investigating agency in the country, and it provides assistance to CBC and as well as Lokpal. Currently, CBI is under the Department of Personnel and Training, which is under the Ministry of Personnel, Public Grievance and Pensions. Regarding the composition of CBI, it is headed by a director, and this director is assisted by a special director or an additional director. And this director of CBI is appointed by a 3-member committee consisting of Prime Minister, Leader of Opposition in the Lok Sabha, and the Chief Justice of India. And the director is appointed for a minimum term of 2 years, and it can be extended up to 5 years. So like the State Police Department, which has several ranks of police personnel like SP and DIGs, CBI also has different ranks of police personnel like Joint Directors, Deputy Inspector General, Superintendent of Police, and all other ranks of police personnel. Moving on to the functions of CBI. CBI, as you know, it investigates into cases of corruption or bribery, and even cases relating to the violation or infringement of other economic or fiscal laws. there are several other economic laws in the country. So CBI can investigate into an alleged violation of such laws as well. CBI has power to investigate serious crimes or assassinations or crime committed by organized groups. Now, this is what you might have known CBI more about. This is what is more sensational, so it appears more in the news. CBI also takes steps on the request of a state government or at the direction of a Supreme Court or High Court any case of public importance for investigation. So the court, High Court or Supreme Court can also direct a CBI investigation into certain matters. And CBI also maintains crime statistics and it disseminates criminal information. So these are the major functions of CBI. Let's talk about the provision on prior permission. So the Delhi Special Police Establishment Act had a section which was Section 6A, which was inserted into the Act in 2003. So as per this section, if the CBI wanted to investigate into an alleged offence of corruption committed by an officer of the rank of Joint Secretary or above, it had to get a prior approval from the central government. So CBI is free to move forward with investigation into an alleged offence of corruption committed by any other officers except if the officer is of the rank of Joint Secretary or above. In those cases, it required a prior approval or permission from the central government for investigation. We talked about prior sanction for prosecution under Prevention of Corruption Act. This is prior permission for even starting an investigation. So in 2014, in the Subramanian Swamy versus Director of CBI and another, the court looked into this particular section as it was challenged, and the court held that it is violative of Article 14 and hence unconstitutional. What does Article 14 talks about? Article 14 talks about equality, right? So it talks about equal protection of laws and equality before law. So if a particular group of public servants, because they are higher ranking officials, are given special treatment from or protection from the investigation of CBI in corruption offences, then that does not sit well with the concept of equality as envisaged under Article 14. And exactly this is the reason why the court held that this is unconstitutional. The court held that the protection under Section 6A has propensity of shielding the corrupt. And very recently, in 2023, Supreme Court held that this particular judgment that made it unconstitutional, that made Section 6A unconstitutional, has retrospective effect. So even if there was an instance where the CBI wanted to move forward with investigation against an officer of this particular rank, which was before this particular judgment, it doesn't matter. The Section 6A is unconstitutional from the date of its insertion into the Act. That is, from 2003, the date on which it was inserted into the Act, it is considered as unconstitutional. The next important thing that you should know when it comes to CBI is consent of states. So as we mentioned before, CBI has the authority to investigate in central government areas and union territories. However, when it comes to investigation into states, territory of different states, state will have to consent to that. So states can either give a general consent or state can give a specific consent. And this is the provision regarding consent is under Section 6 of the Delhi Special Police Establishment Act. So if a state, for example, state of Kerala, if state of Kerala gives a general consent for CBI, it means that once that consent is given, CBI can freely enter the state and conduct investigations. It does not have to approach the state government again and again for consent. It is a general consent for investigation. However, if Kerala is only giving a specific consent, which means if there is a case in Kerala that CBI wants to investigate or Kerala refers that matters to CBI, only in that case CBI can come and investigate. If there is another case that the CBI wants to investigate in Kerala, for that they'll have to take a consent again from the government of Kerala. So that is case specific consent. And if Supreme Court or High Court has referred CBI investigation into a particular case, this consent of state does not matter. CBI can enter the state and conduct investigation. Recently, there has been a trend of several states withdrawing general consent for CBI investigation within their territories. Mizoram was the first one to withdraw general consent in 2015. Currently, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Kerala, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Punjab, Rajasthan, Telangana and West Bengal have all withdrawn general consent to CBI for investigation within their territories. So this could possibly be because the states fear that CBI investigations are used as a political tool by the party in power, and this has happened in the past as well, where political parties that are in power has used CBI as a tool or a political tool. And even the Supreme Court has in some occasion remarked that CBI is a caged parrot. There are several other criticisms of CBI, such as there is no accountability. All of these criticisms are there. However, CBI is still the main investigating agency of the country, and we learned about the composition, the history, the functions, and some of the important aspects related to CBI. Next, we will learn about the institution of Ombudsman, Lokpal and Lokayuktas, and then we will see few important cases on corruption.